Hello friends. So I am here, finally made it to France. It was quite the day, and it always has been at least on travel days here in Europe. So right now I'm currently solo traveling Europe with my dog, Arlo, and I enjoy the joy of getting to a new place, but it's almost hard to enjoy it because I feel like I have just survived all day by the time I arrive. And so I want to change that. I want to change that belief. I really tried to change it this morning. I was like, let's go into it positive. It's an easy one this time because I just had to take a bus and then a cable car and then a train, like a 2.5 hour train to Geneva. And then I got a rental car, and the rental car was just a 6 hour drive, but ended up being like 7 or 7.5. But it was like, okay, very hard because my backpack is like, I don't know, maybe 60 pounds. It's a heavy backpack. And then I have my big rolly bag, which is probably like 80 pounds because it's got Arlo's food in it and all my stuff. And then I had Arlo, and I also had another bag of some groceries that I brought because I'm out in the countryside here. So I knew I wouldn't really have any food with me. And it was hard, and my snowboard. It was hard to get everything on the train and the bus and all that. But the hardest part was I was thinking like, oh, I've got on the train, like I'm done. The hard parts are done for today. Even though the whole time I was thinking that my rental car was going to be a manual, and I don't know how to drive manual. Like I've done it twice 10 years ago. My ex-boyfriend taught me. So for the past few days, I've been watching videos on how to drive a manual car. I've been visualizing it. I've been practicing like while sitting on my couch and like envisioning driving, like, and going through every single step in my head and reading blogs and all this stuff. But luckily I was able to change. And so that was a huge blessing. But it took 2 hours to find the rental car place because they said Geneva Airport. So I'm walking around sweating bullets, absolute bullets. It just sounds weird. I'm also so tired, but like I could not find it for the life of me. And I have this giant snowboard hitting people in the shins, like, because I had it balancing on my suitcase, and then Arlo's just bouncing around because he's like, where are we going? Oh, this is fun. And then I get to the rental car place. I wait in line, and then the rental car people are like, oh no, you're on the Swiss side. You have to go to the French side. And I was like, okay, where's that? She's like, up the stairs. And I'm like, can you tell me what stairs, please? And she's like, just walk over there, and the stairs are there. I'm like, okay. And I can't go upstairs really unless like I channel my inner superhuman, which I did to get onto the train when I only had 6 minutes to run to it from the cable car. So anyway, I was like, I'm gonna take the elevator. The elevator took me up to some place that didn't look like the French part of the rental car check-ins. And it was really just like arrivals for the airport. And so I'm walking around and everyone's telling me somewhere different to go. And then I get to, finally someone's like, it's right there. You're right there. Just go through those doors. And so I try to go through the doors, and everyone's like, no, you're not allowed, like the people that work there at the airport. And so then I ask a guy sitting, I'm like, okay, I need to get to the French side to get my rental car. He's like, you got a boarding pass? And I was like, no, I took the train. He's like, then you can't come through. And I just started crying. Like it wouldn't be a travel day if I didn't cry. And I try to make it a spiritual practice. I try to like stay in my center, not get frustrated, see that everything's happening for me. But like, I haven't mastered it yet. I just haven't mastered it yet. And so he's like, no. And I just start crying, and I'm like, what do I have to do? And he's like, you got to get an Uber to go to the French side. I was like, and it's right there. Like it's just through the doors. He's like, I don't make the rules. I'm like, and I go and I sit on the ground in the arrival section of the airport, and I lean against a wall. I just start bawling. I just start bawling, and then Arlo's like trying to jump on me because he's like, "Oh, you're sitting on the ground, like here we are," and I'm just like, "Don't touch me." And my bag is so heavy, and so then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back and ask him some more questions and just like validate like that I can't walk there. I couldn't have walked there. If my taxi driver was being legit, like it was a pretty far drive. I don't even know if it was on the other side of those doors. I don't know what happened. But I go outside, I get it after I go back to him and just like sob a little bit more. He's like, I can't help you. I'm like, I don't even want you to help me. I'm just so tired. I can't not cry. And then I finally get a taxi. And the taxi driver like didn't want to take us because I have Arlo. And he's like, do you have a bag for him? And I was like, honey, he's like 75 pounds. Like he's not fitting in a bag. I understand. He probably meant like a crate. I don't know. But so he wasn't happy about Arlo, and that it was fine because he still took us. And then we get to the rental car place, and like I arrived at the desk, and I probably frightened this young man because I'm like, hello. I'm so happy to see you. And so then I asked him, like, it's okay if it's manual, but like, is there a chance you have an automatic? And thank the Lord, like this was the highlight of the day. He's like, yeah, I do, just for $30 more a day. And so it's $60 total because I just have it for 2 days. And I was like, yes, that is perfect. Like that is the best $60 I've ever spent. Because after today, like trying to teach myself, oh my God, manual, I'm so glad. Like that timeline was never gonna happen because it was raining like the whole time here. It was beautiful, kind of creepy in some of these French countryside towns, but pretty, like very green, and rainy and very windy, and the roads are very small. And if I was trying to do stick shift, it wouldn't have worked. I'm very optimistic. I like that about myself, but that would have been way too stressful. So thank you, angels and guides. Thank you, everybody, for supporting that outcome. And so when I was speaking with him, asking for an upgrade, because I wasn't sure that it was going to happen, because when I had looked online to upgrade, it was going to be like $1,200 or franc, or some more. It would be like $1,500. I don't know the conversion. I think it's like that. And I was like, that's a lot for 2 days of a rental car. So I was doing this thing that I've been doing where it's like we're all at one consciousness, and you and I are the same, and like so I can ask for things through this one consciousness, and like I can make outcomes happen this way. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll try to explain it later when I'm not exhausted. And so anyway, drive was like a whole other thing. It was nowhere near as hard, but it was like a death and a rebirth. At first, like the first 3 hours, I think like a psychopath, I drove with no music. I like doing that. I've always liked doing that. But 3 hours, I was working through a lot of stuff. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like after just being so dysregulated and like traumatized from these travel days, I'm like, I was a lot of that 3 hours was being really sad and missing home and missing familiar things and my favorite restaurants and foods and my favorite friends. I want to separate those because I was like talking about foods and places to eat food and separate friends. And the beach, and I just miss having a car of my own. And so it's hard, like solo travel is hard. And when I did this, when I made this decision and I sold everything and I came here, I was like, I know I have to do this, but I don't really know why. Like it's just a calling. And I really like my life in California, so it was really hard. And I think that's why this part is really hard too, like missing home so much, because nothing was wrong when I left. And so, yeah, I was like, I just don't know, like, it's not very fun doing these travel days and whatnot. So like, what is my purpose? And then when I finally started listening to I tried to listen to the Law of One, but like focusing on those narrow roads and trying to focus on the Law of One, which requires so much attention, it just wasn't the right combo. So then I just started listening to almost 30 podcasts, and I listened to some really good ones. One about the something farm, Comfy Farm. It was like their second most recent episode about a lady who started this beautiful organization where they help animals, save animals and heal them, and then they bring humans to the farm to learn from the animals, like through their own things and that they've healed through like their traumas. It's like, I was crying, I was in tears, and I was like, this is it, like this is it, because she is talking all about purpose and like how she almost gave up on it and almost had to like sell the farm, and like everybody was telling her that it was ridiculous, and now they're all over the country and they're making like huge changes in the world and for these animals' lives and for the humans' lives that are interacting with them as well. And so I was just reminded, I was like, this, and I've known this, but I was like, this isn't about the travel and like I need to get a car and just make my life much easier, or a van. But the van that I wanted sold yesterday, and so I think that's why I was also sad, because I had my eyes on it for months. But the reason why I'm here in France is really because I found that van, and I gotta stop shooting in 4K because it just fills up my whole storage. But yeah, so it was like the van, I guess, was just never meant to be mine, but it was meant to bring me here to France, because then I got thinking like, oh, I'll register it in France. And I was like, oh, my family friend has a home here, and maybe I could use that as the address to register it. And then she randomly called my mom and was like, oh, she should go stay at my house and blah, blah, blah. So I'll be here for, 2 months because of that whole situation. So there's something here for me in France. But at the same time, like, I'm missing people, I'm missing my home. And so I was also like really sad and kind of moving through things on the drive, because I was like, I don't know if I can do another 2 months away from people. I'll add here, away from people, meaning I'm staying in these places that are pretty remote. Like my Lake Como place was remote. It was remote. My one in Switzerland wasn't really, but what I've learned or been told, and I don't want to accept this as a belief, but it was true from what I experienced, is that Swiss people aren't like very open about inviting you into their friend group. So I had a lot of familiar faces around town, but still like not a lot of deep interactions. And here in France, in the countryside, like, this is gonna be remote. This is gonna be remote. So that's what I meant by people. I'm missing people, and yeah. And so that's kind of where I am with that. But then where I was going towards the end of the drive was like learning all about purpose and everything. And so realizing that this whole experience is like the spiritual journey, and really getting so clear on who I am, like in this, because I'm so confronting with myself right now in these moments of change and travel and newness and novelty all the time. It's like I really have this opportunity to get to know myself, even though it's not comfortable. Oftentimes it's not comfortable. But then the important part too is to not just like get to know yourself in solitude, but to get to know yourself in expression around others. And so I'm excited to bring this into the world, like this new, we're always changing, every second we're changing. So this new evolved version of myself, I'm excited to move forward with her, and to experience relationships with her, and to meet people, and to attract people that are more aligned, because I was only like, not half, like there's no way to measure it, but like I wanted to say half being myself, and that's why I was attracting relationships in California that just didn't completely support who I was, because I wasn't I didn't feel safe to completely be that person. Like, I'm showing up every day here on YouTube now talking about like my real thoughts on spirituality and consciousness and the world and health and all these things. And I would really tone that down in my relationships, not all of them, but most of them. And so I couldn't feel fully fulfilled because I wasn't feeling safe to fully show up as myself, because I thought that like these things that like I love and that fascinate me and that are my unique authentic path, I thought that they were, you know, reasons why people wouldn't like me or accept me because they were weird and different. And those, we all, like so many of us have these patterns where we shut down our gifts and our authenticity because we want to be loved. And so it's, once you can see it and move through it, then it's like you start to set yourself free. But there is that process of, okay, you have to, like one of the podcasts was talking about Runaway Bride, the movie, and Julia Roberts, and how like all of her husbands who were being interviewed, and she was being interviewed, like what happened here and what happened here, and like what were her favorite types of eggs, and they all said different types of eggs. And so the point was that she didn't even know what kind of eggs she liked, and she was saying, well, no, it's the freedom to change my mind. And one of the husbands was like, no, it's like you don't even know who you are, kind of thing. And so then once you figure out that like you're living in a place of not knowing yourself or not fully showing up as yourself, you have to, what she did is like sat down and made every kind of egg, scrambled eggs, over easy, all those, and like tried them all and decided which ones does she like the most and who is she. And so there is that period when you decide that you want to create a life that is actually fulfilling, have relationships that are actually fulfilling. You have to truly decide what it is that lights you up and go deeper and deeper and deeper. Because like even listening to that animal thing, I've been having this voice in me that's like spirituality, but also you love animals. But I kept shutting it down because someone told me when I was younger that, you know, working with animals won't make you a lot of money. And if you become a vet, you're going to have to deal with putting animals down, and that's going to be really depressing. And so I created that limiting belief when it's like, this woman, she's not a vet, and I don't know how much money she makes, but she's completely fulfilled. And so that's the purpose, right? And so anyway, what a day. What a day. You know, just a real human experience today. And this place is beautiful. The outside, I'm excited to see it. I got here when it's dark. Arlo loved running around. I knew he would. My family's coming to visit in a month, and I'm so excited to have them here and to have our family friend here too, or for me to have her here. It's just going to be so nice as well, just to have people around that I know. And yeah, I think that I'll get to know the town tomorrow too and see what's going on there. And it's just temporary too. It's like the final little bits of deciding, I guess, what eggs I like. And then I hope to go somewhere where the like-minded people are, the like-minded individuals. Maybe Portugal, that's kind of where my heart's going, or Ireland, hopefully in a van. But I also have to like sit with that longer too and be like, is the van for me or is it not, like van life or not? So I don't know, a lot of exploring to do. So yeah, if you've ever solo traveled and done the train, bus, cable car, ferry life with a ton of weight on your back and in your bags, like let me know. When I first got here, I had another big suitcase. I left it at my cousin's house here in Switzerland, or there in Switzerland. But the wheels broke off in the rain, in the loose gravel, and I was dragging 3 suitcases with a backpack and Arlo and 2 missing wheels and in the rain going through Milan, and it was just nuts. And so these travel days they're really a test to help me remember the truth of who I am and to bring me closer to my soul's purpose and path on this earth. So anyway, I'm happy that I was able to sit down and make this video. I don't know if I'll be able to upload it right now. I'm gonna try. I don't know if I've figured out the Wi-Fi yet. But I will see you tomorrow and maybe show you a little bit of where I'm staying here in the countryside of France. So I'll see you then. Bye.